What up, folks? I have created, at least drafted up, the first semblance of a custom, basically, study guide. I'm going to go ahead and actually share all that with y'all for the Cloud Certified Architect Foundations. My name is Rich, and if you have been following my series, you know that I've basically been documenting my entire journey and how to go ahead and study and pass for the CCA-F. I'm not trying to go ahead and just pass it at a surface level, but just like many of you, hopefully many of you that are watching, I am trying to have a very deep and understanding of these concepts. So let's go ahead and actually just recap off what is it that we have so far. So I went from like getting started on the Cloud Certified Foundations Architect. I have completed, if you watch my last video, I've completed all 4 of the learning modules, but it doesn't seem like the 4 learning modules, it doesn't really seem like it's correlated to the exam. And the more that I've actually studied the actual PDF, this 40-page PDF, all the resources that I'm referencing, by the way, you guys can go ahead and actually grab it right here. At the WAP community, I'm gonna be like crafting up everything, but you guys can go ahead and actually just go underneath the description, hit the WAP community, boom, done. With that said, I'm gonna go back over here. We have a few things. So the first thing that I did was the following. I took all of this and I've realized they have 40 pages worth of documentation here. There is the target candidate description. There's the exam content, the exam results, the exam content outline. So it's split up into 2 major groups that you're going to see are going to be domains, and you're also going to see something called scenarios. So we have exam scenarios, right? These are the scenarios that they're going to go out there and test you in. And then we have domains. It goes back and it switches back between scenarios and domains. And once we actually have the domains, you have like domain 1, you have like task statements, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in each and every one of the task statements, you have basically the knowledge of this, and you have the domain. So I moved all that crap over to, and there's 40 pages worth of stuff. And I basically moved it onto this Notion page that I have here. So as you can see, I also have the target candidate description, I have the exam content, I have the exam results, I have the content outline right here. And then I've also got, basically, I've made my own CCA-F study plan. I have domains versus scenarios. I have the exam scenarios basically right here. Every time you click it open, I basically have, there's 6 exam scenarios. So you have exam scenario 1, 2, I'm going to be going through all of that in a second, but it just made it a little bit easier for me to understand everything coming in from a largely non-technical recruiting, sales, and marketing background, right? And then you have like exam domains, and you have the task statements, you have this. Okay. And then you have tool design and MCP integration. So you have all these different domains, and you have task statements, you have the domain appendix, which is basically the vocabulary list. And then you have the scenario sample questions. So in each scenario, they're going to give you some questions right here. And I drafted up everything for y'all. And then you have the scenario prep exercises, where you have the prep exercise down here. And then you have the practice exam questions, which I'm actually going to have my assistant go out there and actually draft up. So this is actually from this is not our website. This is actually from somebody else that actually built this. They have practice questions. So they have like domain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It correlates. So we're going to be grabbing all those questions. We're going to be moving it over as well, but I'm going to be making a little cheat sheet for myself and for y'all. He's going to be doing that today. And I have some of the most difficult questions. So this is actually from another website where it says like, these are the most difficult questions with the most misses. Question 51, 37, 54, 50, 55. I'm going to be breaking down that, but I just wanted to go out there and screenshot that. And at the very bottom, I have exam motivation, and then I have the next steps. So today is actually Monday, brand new month. You guys can see I've been posting up everything pretty much. I've been having my team post it up in real time. And I wanted to go out there and actually do this, to go out there and challenge myself. This is going to be my big goal for June. With that said, I'm going to have, you see here, So this is actually my study plan, right? And I actually made this prompt, which is I have the exam vocabulary for each domain. I have the domain task statements. I have the exam prep. I have the exam scenarios. I have the prep exercises for each scenario. I have, like, what the hell do I do with all this information? Because now I got to go ahead and actually pass this. Okay, so the core problem first. The modules are structured like a product manual. The exam is structured like a series of judgment calls made by the architect under production conditions. You need to bridge that gap deliberately. The bridge is every concept only becomes exam ready when you can answer what breaks if I get this wrong. The single question is what breaks, is how every exam distractor is written. The wrong answers on this exam are not random. They are things that sound correct, but break in a specific predictable way. So this was actually very good for, I feel a lot better about the exam right now because now I have a study sequence. The phase one is for me to go ahead and understand the scenarios first. And I'm going to add it in here. And I've been getting a lot of troll comments from like developers and stuff. And if you guys are feeling that, just know you're about to take their jobs. Because like it's happening, right? Like if you can't explain this to non-technical people, and I think a big part of it is like the threat, because like most people that are non-technical, they're wondering why it's so difficult for technical people to go ahead and explain these concepts to them. And the general answer that people have been getting back has just been like, oh, it's really complicated. Like it's not for you, but like you're also not really trying here, bro. But that's fine. Because with the existing technology that we have, it's only a matter of time before non-technical people actually catch up. So like now the definitions have meaning. I just like everything all capitalized. And I'm doing this in real time, as you guys can basically see, holding nothing back as much as possible. And then phase 5 is going to be the practice exam, which I'm just going to go out there and count. These little things bother me so much. I don't know why it does. But I'm going to have this. I'm going to have this. I'm going to have this. And I think this was actually like, to go out there and really be successful at this endeavor, I think you really need to have this sense of confidence is important, but you yourself have to personally believe that it's possible. And the way that I've broken it up is like, okay, the way coming from a liberal arts major is how do we go out there and break down this information into different groupings? If you try to attack everything everywhere all at once, you're gonna feel very overwhelmed, which is exactly what I appreciate the person that actually put together this exam. But going in here and taking your first exam right now, just to get your ass kicked, is not really gonna help your confidence. You really need to be able to break it apart. So if you go to like med school, or if you go to like, law school, they're gonna have different sections, because you also need kind of like a tree trunk and different branches to be able to pull different memory off of. If you're not getting the whole holistic view, it's very easy to feel discouraged. So in our study phase, we're gonna go ahead and read all of this. I've been working with my Claw tutor. So the core principles, like modules taught you what the tools are, but the exam tests when to use them and why. Every concept only becomes exam ready when you can answer what breaks if I get this wrong. That's how every wrong answer distractor on this exam is written. So the first thing is we're gonna understand what these scenarios are, and we're gonna build the context. So we're gonna go ahead and read all 6 scenario descriptions, 1 page each, understand the production problem each one solves. This gives every future vocabulary term a home. Then we are going to go ahead and do the domain task statements, understand the judgment calls, read 1, domain 1, 3, 4, 2, and weight this order. For each task statement, what decision does the architect make here? What goes wrong if they choose incorrectly? Don't memorize, understand the trade-off. Okay, vocabulary. Now the definitions have meaning. Read the vocabulary. Okay, and then sample questions, then the prep exercises. Then we do the practice exam in full simulation, taken exactly at once. Time it. And this is basically my schedule. Now I'm going to read all 6 scenarios. I'm going to understand D1, D3, domain 3, D1, and D3 vocabulary. task statements for D425, and then domain 425 vocabulary, and then I'm going to go out there and take it. Okay, and then it's just like, all right, the buttons will kick off the phase that you basically want, which I have right now also in my Claude, as you can basically see here. Sorry. So I have all the buttons here, and it's already started for me. Now I'm getting a better understanding of like, okay, personal playbook, then team playbook, then like, okay, company playbook. So like now it's like in a way where I'm actually understanding the concepts at a much more like detailed level. So now I have a study plan in place that I'm actually feeling confident about. The next off is, why are we even doing all this? Well, like for my job, I'm training AI product managers and forward deployed engineers. Essentially, they are two versions of the same thing, which are AI trainers. The demand for AI training from product managers and forward deployed engineers has never been higher and is only expected to go out there and grow, not only in the number of roles, but also in the earning potential. So the best communicators for non-technical professionals will go out there and print the most cash. All tech roles, mark my freaking words, all tech roles are either moving into growth and monetization product management, which is effectively going to be a marketing role, or it's going to move into a forward deployed product management or engineering role, which is effectively a sales role or a cybersecurity role. All these positions will require impeccable communication skills to non-technical professionals. Other opportunities include AI training for small businesses, after-school programs for like kids. I'm getting a lot of people, both people that have enrolled in my program where they're like, yo, Rich, I want to partner up with you and do something for like, because Asian people, we invest a massive amount of money on our children. Like we have these after-school, like the SAT is no longer sufficient, right? In getting into these universities, like getting into Harvard right now is no guarantee. Like, you know, class of 2024 MBA class for Harvard had a 24% unemployment rate. So a lot of parents are telling me like, yo, if my kid can go out there and vibe code up an app because they got time and they got imagination, like maybe I don't even have to keep working anymore, right? But these two guys right here, they're doing about like, I've been referencing a lot. They've been doing about $25,000 a day training hedge fund people how to use it. For deployed engineers and product managers increased 10 times over the last 10 years. I have all these links already stored out. AI giants betting billions on the most expensive job in enterprise, which is for deployed engineering and product management. Top engineers don't want this booming AI job. For deployed engineers. So right now there is a need for there is a huge need, and you can see this deployed product manager. There's a huge need for this one position, this one function, which is like, we need you to go and train the people up and identify additional revenue opportunities for you to bring back over to the business. And a lot of it's twofold, right? Being able to empower people to use these tools, but also being able to identify additional revenue opportunities to upsell. And product managers are doing a better job of it than engineers. Engineers are doing a really good job. Like they know the concepts, but a lot of them have had a difficult time training those concepts up. And then you have product managers that are really good at identifying the additional opportunities. But just like them coming from a non-technical background like myself, it's not easy for them to explain these concepts and actually get their hands dirty because they don't have the skills. So the people that can go out there and blend and merge those two worlds together, you are going to be making more money than ever in the next 5 years. Mark my words, because only 5% to like 8% of the market right now actually can say they really own these skills, especially with new skills coming on more and more and more. And it's a problem like any other problem where so many people aren't even trying. We're trying to get this CCA-F exam down to the point where within 5 hours you can go out there and pass it. And a lot of the engineers that I've talked to, the first thing they always tell me is like, that's not, like, you're not even trying. So why don't you go shut the fuck up? Like, somebody like an Elon had to go out there and actually had to throw out the question, let's go ahead and get a Tesla to drive from LA to New York on one charge, right? And if he didn't push the limit of it, like it's crazy because the distance has gotten farther. Like we should actually start setting these unrealistic expectations so that at least like have we actually tried? Well, if I can't get it done in 5 hours, but if I can go out there and along with my team help all these non-technical professionals sky jump up their income in the span of 3 days or even in a week, I still think it's better than what we have right now, which is giving people a 40-page doc that they have absolutely no idea what they're gonna do with it. And all they're doing is just getting more and more pissed off, feeling more and more isolated with the market that's just moving farther and farther away from them. Our team actually wants to go ahead and actually empower people. So my instructor staff is great at training this up. I'm just crazy enough to do this thing myself because I want to go ahead and personally challenge myself. Other things that, so like, let's go out there and actually get back to the actual like preparation for it, right? One of the ways that I found that is also very empowering for non-technical professionals to really understand the exam is like, so what the hell is this exam even like actually accessing? And I was like, this exam is not testing whether or not you can write code. It is testing whether or not you can make the right architectural decision when something goes wrong in a production system. So I was like, put it in a fucking term that I can understand it, which is here is a system that is broken, or like here is a system that is broken or could be designed better. Here are 4 ways to fix it. 3 of them sound reasonable. 1 of them is actually correct. Which one is it? That's it. The 6 scenarios are just 6 different types of production systems. The domains are just categories of decisions those systems require. The vocabulary is just the names of the tools available to fix things. As a product manager, you already do this every single day. A feature is broken. Engineering gives you 4 options. You have to pick the right one based upon trade-offs, constraints, and what the user actually wants. That's it. Why the fuck didn't anybody just say that? Now we know what kind of game we're going for. So what each scenario is really testing for. Scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, scenario 4, scenario 5, scenario 6. My people are going to be taking all of these freaking jobs away because overall, generally speaking, I hear it from the market every single day. People are just tired of like when you're like a Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, you can blow a lot of money on AI trainers, and you know what people are doing, like, and they are. And what ends up happening is like people are just like they're swiping on these people like it's freaking Tinder because they're like, okay, I've had to sit through brutal 5-day period listening to this guy yap or this girl yap, and I still don't feel like I'm getting any closer. And I've actually gotten I've gotten actually two batches of like DMs on my LinkedIn. Number 1 is like people are like, yo, thank you so much. Non-technical people are like, thank you so much for doing this. And then like engineers are just like, oh, like, yo, it's fine. We're going to take your job. Because like you're not even trying to solve this problem, right? And I'm like, well, I think we're just asking for some very basic level shit. So why do these 6 scenarios even exist? So this is actually the right question. These scenarios were not chosen randomly. They represent the 6 most common ways the Anthropic enterprise customers are actually deploying Claude in a production system right now. So every scenario is a real customer use case that Anthropic has seen break, succeed, and get misdesigned repeatedly. Okay, so we basically now we have this. The one insight that ties everything together. Now I understand that these aren't random scenarios. Something else that I've also wanted to understand is, so I got this thing where it's just basically like, what is like every single one of these domains, they have like a task, knowledge of, skills in, task statement, orchestrate. And I'm like, I have no idea. So I was like, what is the task, domain task statement, knowledge of, and skill in? What knowledge of? And it's actually saying like, okay, so there's 2 sections that appear in every single task statement across all 5 domains. Here's what they present. Knowledge. What you need to understand conceptually. The exam will test this by describing a situation and asking you to identify what is happening or something or why something is broken. You don't need to build it. You just need to recognize it. Okay, so I just need to understand what's being broken here. Great. Now understand it. Skills in. what you need to be able to decide. The exam will test this by giving you a broken system and asking which fix is correct. You need to know, you need to know just what the concept is, but when to apply it and what goes wrong if you apply the wrong one. The PM analogy, knowledge of is understanding, and every single question is testing your skills in item, using a knowledge of concept as the context. You need both, but the judgment call is always where the points are. So I was like, so what does domain one really ask me? Okay, so domain one is about one thing. How do you design an AI agent that makes multiple steps, that takes multiple steps to complete a task without getting stuck, going rogue, or losing information along the way? Why didn't you just say that? The 7 task statements are just 7 different angles on that same question. Here's what each and every one of them means. So I have now the task statement. What's it really asking me for? The business problem that it's actually solving. So a support agent is processing a refund. It needs to look up the customer, find the order, then process the refund. 3 steps. How does it know to keep going after step 1? How does it know it's done after step 3 and not just running? Okay, so tool use. Understanding of tool use means keep going. End turn means stop. Okay, now that makes sense. Skills in. Okay, so now I have some freaking degree of control because now I know what this basically means. And I'm going to go out there and follow up every single step. And I'm going to do this for the rest of the domains. And I'm going to start working on the vocabulary. And then now I'm going to start working on the sample questions. And now I'm going to start working on the preparation exercises. And I think the next 4 weeks, it's going to be good. Now, I'm saying I've given a lot of context and information, but what I really want to install with everybody is like a certain degree of motivation to keep going. I actually have this as a list right here. You totally got this. Like, as like somebody that studied film as a minor, there's actually a really cool, I'm going to take a little shout out here. There's this movie, it's called Sugar. It's about this mom who finds out that her son
Advice for remote mom.
has like
She doesn't have to suffer through those.
Has like diabetes. It's crazy, right? And she's actually like watching YouTube videos to like freaking figure out how to like navigate this. She like whiteboards it and she's actually working on it at night. Okay, that's gonna get me that got me a little pumped up. This other one here where this dude, you guys know I love Korean films. This is actually, it's called Escape, North Korean soldier. He's been planning his escape from North Korea and now he's going. The Tony Stark scene where he's building his first Iron Man in the cave and then the Martian. Like, what I really want people to take away from this is whether you are a non-technical product manager, like regardless of who it is that you are, like I want to go out there and put together this plan so that anybody can go out there. This is the hottest certification right now in not just the tech market, but almost every market. And like, if I can go out there, my team and I can go out there and help people level up faster. Not just, I haven't gotten any calls from anybody that's just like, I want to do, like people legitimately right now want to know this. We have in what our team does, our internal marketing team does, we have right now an amped opportunity. An amped opportunity, when we take a look at which offer we're working with, is do we have the attention, the money, the participation, and the time? That's like, do we have amped? Those are the 4 letters that we dub here, right? That we have like a golden offer. There has never been a time, and that's why I'm actually having all these analogies, not just for like sales and recruiting people, but also for product managers, but also for like lawyers, investment bankers, management consultants, even for kids to understand all these different analogies. There's a lot of parents, they want to learn this for their kids too, because they're seeing where the job market is going and how the school system, even the university and MBA programs, they are not preparing people for, they're not preparing people, jobs are not going away. But they're not preparing them for the jobs that are actually going to make money and the expectations the market actually has of these people, right? So AMP stands for 4 things. Number 1 is attention. Do we have the attention? We do. Everybody right now wants to learn Claude. Everybody right now wants to learn Cursor. There's nobody, I'd say like in 2024, people would say something like a Lovable, like you'd have like, oh yeah, what's that? Or like, oh, but it's not going to be, like they know these tools. They weren't that good even up until probably a year ago, maybe even 9 months ago, 2 years ago, I think it was a lot of hype. But because of the amount of investment that's being thrown into the AI space, and along with all these tools, like Claude is not what Claude is. You talk about Claude June 1st, 2026, is not what Claude was June 1st, 2024, June 1st, 2025. But they've caught up to a lot of the hype that they've put up, and people know that at the rate that they're going right now, it's crazy what they're going to be able to accomplish as a business. And I think Cursor is going to be another really cool one too. You have the attention. So the attention and the interest at the top level is there. The second thing that you have is money. Are people willing to pay to learn these skills? Oh yeah. Parents want to learn it. Non-technical people want to learn it. Product managers want to learn it. You have small business owners that want to learn it. The attention and interest is there because you also have so many people that's just like, Claude Code just helped me trade stocks. Claude Code just helped me do this. Da 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 da. The attention and the interest is there. Is the money there? People are willing to pay like anywhere between our program, which is a career coaching program, all the way up to corporate training where the real gold is being printed right now. That's also there. You're talking about if the instruction right now is this bad in the English language, can you imagine everything else outside of the English language? It is insane the amount of money that's about to be made in the next 3 to 5 years. Then do you have like the participation, right? Which is what we call participation, is like, are people willing to invest energy and effort? They actually are. And then the last one in terms of amped is what we call time. Is this just a fad? This is not Pokemon Go. This is not a GameStop. Which is this right now when we're talking about time in the amped, which is like we have a really good offer. We have something that's very strong in the marketplace. This is something people can see is going to be very big the next like 3 to 5 to like 10 years. So the people that can communicate these concepts the best and break it down for people, you guys are going to be the ones making the most money. And I've gotten a lot of interest right now for our training program from a lot of investment bankers, management consultants, and lawyers. I'll tell you guys also a little bit why I think that is, because the way that a lot of non-technical people understand things is when I have to learn something and I have to explain it to somebody that doesn't know this, it's not like that difficult for me to go ahead and do it, right? So if you're working in investment banking or you're a lawyer or a management consultant or you're working in marketing, if the client or the domain you have to master is like wind turbines versus solar roofs versus this new diabetes drug or medical device, it's like, all right, I'm going to go out there and dive in and I'm going to go out there and really learn the concepts, and you guys largely have a framework of how you can explain these concepts to somebody else. So if your friends are meeting up with you for drinks, and what are you working on right now? Wind turbines. Oh, so what's that about? Well, like there's this new wind turbine and they can go into the pitch and they're wondering why, and it's so frustrating. And me as a business owner too, when I'm talking to engineers, is like, why is it so hard for you to communicate with me and just answer basic level questions? Like I just caught you freaking like I don't even understand it, right? But I empathize that with engineers, their job is not to explain things. Their job is to build things. So their job is not to go out there and create stories or go out there and explain concepts. Their job is to build. And they chose that profession and they chose that role based upon their personality trait, and they wanted to do that. Like if I had to go out there and do some things, like if I had to go out there and be like an accounting person or I'd go out there and kill myself. I'd rather go out there and talk to people all day, right? So you're forcing these people that don't want to do this job to do this job. Meanwhile, the people that want to do this job, they just don't have these skills. So if you can go out there and mash and merge, that's where the greatest money opportunity is at. Don't forget to go. I'm going to be creating more resources. The next steps that I actually have coming down the rainbow is I'm going to be grabbing more practice. I'm going to be delegating. Now I'm going to be asking for a little bit of help, but I'll be very transparent. I'm going to be delegating one of my team members to grab me some practice questions that we're going to find online from the two apps. I'm going to have them move over here. I'm going to have them reorganize because like now that I understand everything that's going to be in 2 major sections, I understand there are essentially 6 scenarios and then there's 5 domains. That gives me at least mentally some degree of control of like, all right, now we just got to cut through. And if I just got to go ahead and go through scenario 1 and scenario 2 and 3, and like now that I've also been very frank about how my brain operates, of like, all right, so we're going to start with domain 1, then we're going to start with domain 3, and then we're going to work our way to domain 4, and then domain 2, and then domain 5, then we're going to go out there and get a hit. The other thing that I also wanted to go out there and point out that I did not already is that sample questions for domain, for scenario, technically 4 and 5 and 6 are missing. So if you go down to sample questions down here, and I'm just going to go out there and say sample questions, you have, this is scenario 1, and then you scroll down here, and then you're also going to have scenario 2, scenario 3, okay, and then that's pretty much it. And then there's like probably scenario 4 that I skipped over. So we don't have 3 questions for those 2 additional scenarios, and we're gonna get like a random 4 scenarios, like out of 6 scenarios. Don't think that they're not covering that in the exam. They're absolutely covering that in the exam. So I will go ahead and actually talk to y'all more later. This is actually my update in a few days from now. Unfortunately, I can't go out there and keep on recording the whole thing live because like I actually realize it can go faster, but I'm making these videos after the fact to just go ahead and retrace my steps. So much more money be made. Come and see me in WAP, or if you're ready to go out there and enroll either in our AI product management or forward deployed engineering program, come and hit me up on LinkedIn. All the same. So y'all can go ahead and DM me here on LinkedIn and we can go out there and chat it up. Let's go out there and print cash, man.